One. And we are recording with Mr. Roger Williams, the author of my favorite book, The Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect. You may have thought that because I haven't threatened you, the listener, in a couple months, that I don't think you should buy it. That's not true. I'm still threatening, perhaps maybe in a more legal sense. Buy the fucking book. I think it is my favorite book ever written. It is what happens when you pass over the edge of the singularity and all of the potentials and pleasures and evils that and really fulfillments or lack thereof that come with it. And it will be in the description. You can get it on Lulu or Amazon. Get it on Amazon for the same price as Lulu. If you get it on Amazon, you give more money to Jeff Bezos as he eventually becomes the transhuman Lex Luthor Antichrist and rules the world, or you can give it a couple extra bucks to Roger, who eventually will become a transhuman Antichrist of the world. So it's really you're choosing an Antichrist. Which one do you want, Roger or Jeff Bezos? I'm not going to begrudge you. You choose one or the other, but buy the fucking book.
Well, I'm not a billionaire yet.
Not yet. And when you become one, though, I look forward to your full degradation into evil. I think it's great. But
Yeah.
to comment on your questions, not only do I have the blue lights now, I have the red lights under the flag, and I have the other lights behind the camera. I'm still very blue. And as I was telling you about the good 4K Sony camera, it scares me. It's like an ancient person coming upon a radio or something. It scares me. It emits noises and sounds and lights I've never seen before. And much like alien technology, when I do harness it, it's great and it yields wonderful things, yields wonderful resolution and color palettes.
You don't necessarily know why, but
I
when it
don't know
works, it's
why.
great.
And so when I first got it set up, I remember it was intimidating. Finally, I watched a YouTube video and it's all alien to me, the buttons and menus and meanings and definitions. But once I finally got it to work, I just slowly backed away from it and there's literally,
Oh yeah, you don't mess with it.
there was dust on all the buttons when I moved it because I don't fucking touch it. And I put it away and I thought just by turning it off, because I turn it off at the end of every podcast, I thought I would just turn it back on and it would work. And I plugged everything in here when I first set up the whatever 2 weeks ago. And I realized it wasn't set up. And I just looked at it and just went, I'm still unpacking. I'm sick. I'm still sick. I moved in 2 weeks ago. I still have the fucking flu. And you have it too.
Yeah,
And
I felt like crap last night. I didn't sleep much, so I'm a little green.
this is
Um,
2 weeks going. But looking at that and box is still packed to the ceiling, I just looked at the camera and decided, you've won for today. I'll I'll fight this battle when my army's ready. And episode 1,000's coming up, and I think I might need to get it figured out for then, but I might not. It's staring at me, and I'm staring at it. I might let it have its win for now. I'll be bored one day, and I'll be over caffeinated, and I'll be ready to dive into it and figure it out. But every day I glance at it, and I'm just like, we're not crossing, we're not taking Berlin today.
yeah.
We might take Normandy. We might reclaim France or Paris. We're not taking Berlin today. We'll take it. Japan will surrender unconditionally.
Yeah.
That day is just not today. And
Oh, hey, you got your flag up, man.
I got my
That's
flag.
signature.
I got the flag up. The chair works. The microphone, the shit that can't break hasn't broken. So and you can't see it. I don't know if I sent, but I now have some Black Friday sale, and like a dirty pig, I couldn't resist myself. I have an 86-inch TV, and there's my gaming station. You can see the gaming computer, the little side monitor that used to be my gaming monitor right there. That's now just my Discord, Skype, Zoom, and there's my reclining leather chair and the keyboard, and you can't see it, the reflective case. And then maybe I don't want to pull this out of the wall. But you can there's the edge of it.
It's a picture window the shape of a TV set. Yeah.
No, and then it's a massive, massive 4K monitor. Dude, it is a different level of gaming. It
I
is.
guess so.
It is fucking wild. I don't regret anything. I regret nothing. It is amazing. It's I threw away the boxes today and I looked like an idiot. I could barely get them in the elevator. But yeah. Sorry for that opening monologue. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like you texted me and said that you went over with the previous guest and we're gonna be a little late. Hey, it's your joint, man. That's whatever you need to do, that's fine. You know,
I appreciate you, Doc.
you got you know, you must have had a good one going.
It was well that one. It was also just that one started late. Not started late. It was late because of me. But it's all just been a I don't know how I am still sick and it so I think I told
Yeah.
you I had like a terrible blister on my ankle from moving in here and
Oh, yeah.
it's been healing miraculously and I guess it doesn't hurt anymore but I guess I like scratched it open in my sleep last night because
Oh, yeah.
I I went to the bathroom and then went back to sleep for a couple hours and I went to the bathroom again. And then, like, the darkness, I just saw, like, marks all over the floor, and I was like, "Oh, fuck it," because 'cause I'm OCD clean. I know when a
And
toothbrush is out of line. So I was like,
it was
"What?"
bleeding all over the place, right?
Flipped on the lights. It looks like I killed someone. There's just bloody footprints through and I just looked at it and went, "I'll get it in the morning," and just went back to bed. And just luckily, my sheets are black, so
Hmm.
I imagine those also look like a murder weapon. But,
Say
yeah.
something about blisters.
DMCO, what's that? Dimethyl
DMSO, dimethyl sulfoxide.
what's that?
It is a miracle drug for burns and crushing injuries and things like blisters. When you have it's a very powerful antioxidant, and we found out, it's people who own $1 million racehorses use that when they have the beginnings of an injury. They'll massage that into them. In fact, this came from a feed store. It will never be approved for human use, though, because it is a cheap industrial solvent. So no one can patent it. But if you have if you burn yourself, if you have a crushing injury, if you have a blister that is forming, then what it does is it neutralizes the blood
The
cells that are
white blood
released.
cells?
Yeah, well, when you break the capillaries, it releases your red blood cells into the surrounding tissues. They die and they become toxic to the
Ah,
surrounding tissues. That's what causes bruises to spread. That will stop a bruise from spreading. Dead.
really?
Yes. And this tub that I got from a feed store is actually a gel. It's meant to. You used to be able to get the same stuff as a liquid in a roll-on container, so you could just do like that. Um, but I got this when I had my angiogram because my legs started to turn purple, and it does that because the entry point leaks, and that's like classic situation for it. Uh, and the reason I have this here is that I also have some blisters on my feet right now for completely different reasons. Uh, but yeah, this you can get a tub like this for like $7 or $8, and it'll last forever. But the trick with it is if you burn yourself or if you drop something on your foot or whatever, if you sustain a crushing injury that you know is going to form a bruise, get thee to the DMSO and slather that stuff on it, and it will keep the damage from spreading.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you, including crushing it. So
Mm-hmm.
not just cuts.
Yes, that's well, where it really excels is anything that releases, that breaks blood vessels, and so the blood is leaking into the surrounding tissue, and that causes more damage to the surrounding tissues. The DMSO will stop that from happening. Uh, it also penetrates the skin. You do have to be a little careful with it if you've been working with chemicals that are toxic because it'll take them inside your body. But for normal people and normal uses, it's not a big deal. Um, but I've, my wife bruises very easily, always has. And when we discovered this stuff, like close to 30 years ago now, she declared it a miracle drug the first time she used it
It's that
because
effective.
it's amazing. And every once in a while, someone starts making noise that it should become approved or something, but nobody's going to spend $80 million for it to go through the approval process when you can't get a patent on it because it's a cheap industrial solvent.
So they're gonna make an enantiomer of it. They're gonna make
Yeah,
they're gonna make it into a pharmaceutical
yeah, it's
de-emulsified approval, yeah, but they're gonna make a tweak to it.
yeah.
So
Well, it's too simple. That's the problem. It's too simple for them to do that kind of shit too.
well, that's like the argument against. That's why they don't like psilocybin or LSD.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's admitting you lost the drug war, but two, it's massive recidivism in depression, anxiety, substance
Yeah,
abuse, and you can't patent it because it's comes from cow shit.
yeah. Let me tell you, how much are things changing? Louisiana, of all places, just legalized mushrooms for psychiatric treatment. I mean, it's like Louisiana legalized hallucinogens, not for recreational use, but for
Yeah,
therapeutic use and for personal use. So if you want to grow magic mushrooms in Louisiana, it's legal now as long as it's for your own use.
it's the foot in the. There is nothing funnier. I've said this a million times before than the propaganda hysterical scare that weed is the gateway drug, and you start smoking weed, you'll be doing other drugs. And like the funniest thing about how like it's 100% true, like the decriminalization of weed in like Boulder, and how it is leading, but in the best possible way.
Mm-hmm.
But it is like it's just starting with weed, relax, and then 15 years later, yes, so Louisiana, you can get mushrooms in Louisiana. It's like what the fuck? But like there is nothing funnier than the fact that like their fears were correct, but it's good. But it is
Mm-hmm.
fucking hilarious that like it is the gateway drug.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, no, you were right. You were right. It was the gateway drug. It's to me that is
the
amazing.
gateway to the legalization of everything else.
Oh, and
Just
it's a
give
good
it
thing.
time.
Yeah, no, your mechanism of action, your hypothesis was correct. It is the gateway drug.
Mm.
You were wrong in that your conclusion was bad, and that it turned out to be a good thing. But there is nothing funnier than the fact that it's just weed. It's Boulder.
Yeah,
It's a state. They can vote how they want. Fast forward 15 years, you can
yeah.
buy LSD in Chicago. It's like, wait,
Well, there are just so many studies that shows that hallucinogens are really useful for people who have like PTSD and all. And you've
oh
still
yeah,
got a lot of veterans that are dealing with shit like that from the Iraq War and all. It's uh you don't want to put something like that on the shelf. But on the other hand, this shit has been around for like this stuff has been known about for at least 80 years.
yeah.
Like I said, these are sold to people who own $1 million racehorses. They would not be putting this on their horses if it was going
It's
to harm them.
it's
Uh, it's
yeah.
to prevent tissue damage from spreading. Uh, and I can tell you, the first time you have a burn or what you know is going to become a really bad bruise, and you use it, and you see what it does, you'll be converted.
It's fucking criminal. It's criminal. It's not more wide. I had never heard of it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if you uh, it's because the pharma industry doesn't want you knowing about miracle drugs they can't patent, I guess.
It's
Um,
it's fucking it's criminal.
Yeah. And of course there are no proper medical sources because it can't be approved for medical. So you have to, the people who package this stuff up are basically buying it as an industrial solvent and they're getting the purest form that they can, obviously, but no one is approving it to medical grade
Yeah,
because there's no market for that.
yeah.
Still, I've been using this stuff and I haven't grown a third here yet. And it's like I said, if you got blisters, it will the way you're used to them doing, and it won't keep getting bigger. Just a little PSA from your local Roger.
Fucking wild. Sorry, your connection's breaking up. Your image is frozen. I
Tommy.
don't know. Yeah, you hear me? Or now you're getting the frozen. Roger, you there?
Yeah, Yeah, I was getting the Frozen with you.
Okay, yeah,
So
I figured it was gonna. It normally happens where you get it and then, or I
yeah.
get it from you, and I know that you're about to get it from me. Um, well, um,
Well, yeah, you're coming in kind of okay, well you're back now,
yeah,
but you were broken up and freezing.
I figured
So
as much.
probably means somebody dropped something at the ISP. Oh,
Or,
it's
or
Twitter finally imploded.
oh fuck that. I mean, that's so. I was gonna say because I got Dale in an hour and 20 minutes. We can do a reading, or we can just riff because there's fertile ground for riffing, but we also haven't done a reading in a minute, and I wanted to make sure that I still provided that opportunity. I don't want to have too much discontinuity, or
Yeah.
we can riff about the fact that the Twitter servers are probably reaching fusion temperature right now.
Yeah, either is good for me. Yeah, we don't. I thought we would have time to do both, but it's we're kind of like looking at one or the other now. But that's up to you, man. It's your
It
joint.
is up to
Uh,
you.
we will be starting book three, so we will probably want to do the next four readings pretty much consecutively because they will be book three. So, I, considering a lot of stuff has happened, maybe we should just riff tonight because we had our time cut a little shorter.
Yeah. I
Uh,
I just want to make sure I still threw that out there.
oh yeah,
Um,
it's like I said, just I don't think we're going anywhere.
I always say that. I always think that too. I always just I just find myself saying it to myself in my head. I'm like, podcast isn't going anymore. I'm always just like, I feel like there is a me in some distant timeline that's like it's called foreshadowing. Look out. Look, and then now, even now, just saying that as a joke, am I like projecting some intention into the universe?
Yeah.
But whatever, fuck it, who
But
cares?
look at it on the bright side. It's like there's a left wing guy named Jeff Tiedrick, who's a very popular Twitter guy on the left, and he tweeted about a week ago. Well, I've done a lot of stupid shit in my life, but I've never taken $44 billion, poured gasoline all over it, and set it on fire.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I've never, I've never. I do like the meme, where it's like Elon's a fucking retard. He bought Twitter for 44 billion. I got it on the App Store for free.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's not
Did
original, but I
did
like.
you see, did you see that somebody, presumably one of the disgruntled Twitter employees or ex-employees, spent Friday night projecting images on the Twitter building headquarters, uh, basically Elon Musk fixed, and then various comments about him scrolling to the right.
Oh,
My,
that's hilarious.
my favorite was Rocket Karen. I've called him Rocket Karen now for about three people who have just instantly decided that's his nickname.
Rocket Karen. That's didn't someone do that? I want to say as soon as Trump was elected, someone did it on an embassy
Yes,
or something.
they were doing it on Trump Tower. It's a thing now. They were doing it on the Russian embassy after the
Yeah,
Ukraine war started
I thought I saw it on Reddit years ago.
because it's a very difficult thing to stop, especially if you're in a major American city and it's foreign. You know, it's like if it's an embassy or something. What can you do about it?
I'm sure eventually they're gonna find a rule for embassies. They're gonna say it's like some form of warfare or something.
Well,
I'm not for it. I see the powers that be eventually will
yeah.
crack down on it.
I don't know. It's been, it's just it's light. It's just a comment.
That's how you and I view it as rational human beings who
Yeah,
value
and we're in the
expression.
United States, where
That's how you and I value expression, and it's just light.
although I saw a really detailed thing about Elon Musk's philosophy yesterday that suggests what he really believes is that he's more of an Ayn Randian, uh, not an individualist in the sense that everyone should be free, but he thinks that it's time for the technocratic elites to take over so stuff can get done properly. And that those guys like him have to be free and fuck everyone else.
Well, there's no precedent for that in human history. That's never gone wrong, right? We know
No.
what's best. We should be free. We should. That's never. I just feel like as we're saying that, that's never happened. That's where you just superimpose
Mm-hmm.
just still frames of like black and white marching over cities.
Yeah. And no, And I've been telling people when people ask me, is Twitter going to be destroyed? I believe Twitter has already been destroyed. I think if Musk got a visit from the spirit of Christmas future tonight and realized all the shit he's done wrong and tried to undo it, it's too late. I was a prominent member of a site that disintegrated because there was no moderate, the moderation was inadequate and the community fell apart. I've seen it happen. And
Our world politics of I just remember well, because I lived with my parents for 5 years and they had like an iMac down and I would just kind of scroll on the iMac when I ate food. And I remember our world politics, there was some argument about like moderation or something.
Mhm.
And they were like, well, like it's leaning too far left. Like we need more voices from the right. And then eventually someone came from out of like left field, no pun intended, and was like, you guys are moderating it in terms of America. Like this is our world politics. Somebody else is like, it's an American company. And someone's like, but it should stand up to the ideals of world politics. And it's like, well, then it should be freedom of expression for everyone. And so eventually the argument somehow came to a head that you're allowed to post porn there. That it eventually reached that point, right? It's like that. What's that rule where it's like given enough amount of time, any online argument will eventually invoke Hitler? Isn't it like
Yes.
Poe's law or something? Well,
It's
there's got to be another rule for eventually it goes to the nth degree. And it was some transsexual with huge tits and a huge dick. And like that was on the front page. And it was like, and not only that, but technically your title didn't need to be accurate. So it was like the new president of Norway. I don't even know if Norway has a president. And if it was, this certainly wasn't them. And it was like
I think
some
they
like
actually have a monarchy, but yeah.
whatever. And then the next one was like some chick getting in the ass, and it was like and it was like, oh, here's like the capital of
Well,
like
and
sweet. The point is
yeah. Well,
it
this is what Ellen didn't understand is he thought he was buying a tech company. And there's nothing all that special about the tech of Twitter. Okay. He was
Rogan.
what
Rogan
made
Rogan's not breaking any new ground using a camera and a microphone.
no, what made Twitter what it was that it is a network of communities. That's what Ellen was buying, and they were established, and the rules had frozen out to a point where they mostly worked, which is extremely difficult, as you noticed with our world politics, when you have very diverse groups. It makes it very hard because you've got the left and the right, and you've got other countries that believe in authoritarianism all mixed together. And making that work is a major pain in the ass. Uh, One of the things he didn't understand is that one of the reasons Twitter had so many employees was moderation, and content moderation is essential for something like Twitter or Facebook or even Reddit, because the individual subreddits are moderated by the people who founded the subreddits. They're done in
Mm-hmm.
different ways, but the ones that don't have good moderation and keep things on track tend to dissolve because people stop going there because it's chaos. That was what happened to Corrosion, the site that put my novel online. Uh, the founder saw it as an experiment in community self moderation. And when it was clear that the system he had developed wasn't doing the job, instead of fixing it, he decided to watch it go down the tubes,
Hmm.
and which was very disappointing. But again, you had in that day, you really had there was a whole culture that thought trolling was an art form, and there was a significant fraction of the users at Corrosion who subscribed to that idea. And if you didn't keep a tamper on them, then the people creating the quality content uh, eventually would go away because they were harassed and they felt like they, couldn't have a forum where they could have their say and not, and all. It eventually reached the point where I couldn't post there anymore. I stuck it out to the bitter end, and I've seen several people. Jeff Tiedrich is one of them saying that. Well, I'll stick it out to the bitter end while they create their Mastodon accounts, but they're like, well, I'll stick it out on Twitter to the bitter end. But if they're not going to have moderation, if they've thrown away the entire structure that evolved, I mean, a lot of the people that Musk fired have been there since the Ruby on Wales or on Rails fail whale days in the early going. They've seen how it evolved.
Mm-hmm.
They know what goes wrong, and now Musk just basically threw all of that institutional knowledge away because he doesn't believe that it's valuable. Well, he's about to find out otherwise. Uh, the thing is, Twitter is so large that it will take time for it to fall. There was a beautiful turn of phrase uh, in a science fiction novel that I read in the 1970s, uh, where a group of people is standing on the moon of their habitable world and watching it explode. And he said, events unfolded with the deceptive slowness of a mighty event seen from a great distance.
Hmm.
Because if you think about it, something traveling the speed of sound seen from 250,000 miles away,
Yeah.
it might not look that impressive, but it's really fucking impressive if you're on the ground.
Yeah. 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 No, an asteroid impact from the moon. You're like, oh, it's just kind of slowly. Meanwhile, on Earth, it's going Mach 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ripping up mountains. Yeah. Um,
So, so that I think that's where Twitter is. I think that it's going, basically it's the airplane where the gremlins have removed all of the rivets, but the wings haven't fallen off yet.
I think, and so I look at it and I tend to, whenever I attribute incompetence and I know I should be attributing malice, I also try to do vice versa and go wherever I'm attributing malice, I also have to include possible incompetence. When I look at just examples of record companies signing like a band and selling them at, they sell out and all of a sudden like a punk rock band, it's like 1995 Blink 182, and then 10 years later they're playing at the Pepsi Center, and it's like, wait, you guys were like a garage band from San Diego, and now you're being filmed in front of 8K cameras with like $10,000 mosh pit tickets, and your ETH were okay. I get it.
Mm,
I've said on here, I hope eventually people look back at the early podcast and say that's before the sellout days, because that will imply that I eventually made it and I eventually made enough money to go retire and do philanthropy, whatever. But that doesn't make those record companies stupid. Does it make them soulless? Sure.
mhm.
But not stupid. If we're
Yeah.
defining intelligence as a fiduciary responsibility, right? So you do these things, and then a small craft beer company and it gets bought by Anheuser-Busch, sure, it becomes mainstream. The owners don't think it's stupid. You as an original, fan of it, wherever White Claw started, they
Yeah.
might go, White Claw is so mainstream now. But to some retard like me who had never heard of White Claw until a year ago, and now I get them and I'm like, this is pretty good. They don't care. I don't think they have any illusions about the raping the originality of it to death. But
Yeah.
they may not care. They may look at it as a cost thing and go, it's dead, and we're only going to be able to milk it for a couple of years, but we can get a lot out of it. I say all of that to say, because he has such an ecosystem of other companies, I would think that there's probably some AI learning that is valuable from being at the helm of Twitter that you and I might view, and rightfully so, as you're destroying this place. He might look at it and go, this is valued at 44 billion. Maybe they did an appraisal of it, however you would do it, and when it has $80 billion worth of machine learning in it. I don't know, but I
Actually,
would.
most people figure it the other way around. He paid
Okay.
about 5 times what the company was worth.
Okay.
Uh, if you base it on what Twitter could actually earn, he's going to find out. Everybody is already saying the stupidest thing he ever did now was not paying the $1 billion to just get out of the
You get
deal.
it at the fine. Oh yeah, no, that was
Yeah, he's going to lose a lot more than that. As things stand, uh, he is almost certainly going to lose Twitter itself and probably Tesla because the loans that supported the other 12 billion are backed by his Tesla stock.
mm-hmm.
So the Saudi Arabians will end up owning Tesla, and the banks will end up owning whatever the hell is left of Twitter. And Musk will be okay. He still has SpaceX, and he might not be the richest man in the world anymore, but he'll
He'll be
still be in
fine.
the running. Um, but yeah, it was just the thing. It's a perfect example of someone who thinks they're good at everything because they've been proven good at something.
Yeah,
And the other thing you got to remember about Musk is that he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He inherited what is a diamond mine or a gold
Emerald,
mine or something,
Emerald.
emeralds. Yeah, so he is used to people telling him he's the smartest man in the room because they want to curry his favor. They've been
Sure.
doing that since he was about this high. So he does not have the experience of being proven wrong, and that makes for a very dangerous lack of reality in your worldview. And I think that's all this is. I've seen post after post of people speculating, especially on the left, is like, oh, he bought Twitter to deliberately destroy it. It's like, no, nobody does that.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Nobody deliberately throws away 40 billion with a B dollars.
it's
That's not how rich people become rich.
it's
Uh,
probably hubris.
it's Ubri, yes. And the thing, but is like and normally if you did do what Ellen is doing, you would come in with a plan. You would have a team of advisors. You would study the situation. You wouldn't just go in and start ripping the place apart on day two like he did. No one has ever done that on this scale that I'm aware of. Buy a company that size and fire half the employees the next day. I mean, firing the board, yes, you've seen that.
That yeah, that's part and parcel.
But he fired half the employees without even knowing what they did.
Yeah.
So within a few days, he's having to go back to some of them hat in hand and
Yeah,
ask
go,
if they'll
hey,
come back. I
you,
forgot you're the only one who has the keys to the server room. So yeah,
yeah,
and there was a tweet chain, the Twitter, a chain
right.
of tweets this morning about 56 technical ways Twitter could die, and it was just all of the technical things that can go wrong because you fired all your experts and you have this enormously complicated, vast thing. There, okay, what happens if this goes wrong? What happens if that goes wrong? And he was just, and this is a guy who did this kind of enterprise level IT work for other companies for his whole, and he's just like, you know, do you know how to respond to it if another country comes in and says we want you to put all your data on servers in our country now? Do you have the legal people? Do you have the engineering ability to even do that if you decide to comply? It's like uh, so right now it's like the doors are locked.
Mm-hmm.
He realized that he had stepped in it so bad that he had to basically freeze the situation, lock all the doors, take a step back, and figure out who has access to what. Because if you look at those 56 technical ways that Twitter could die, all it takes is one of those thousands of disgruntled ex workers who knows where something bad is lurking to,
Yeah.
and you may not have anyone who can straighten it out. They're just going to sit back and go, enjoy
It's
it,
like
Ellen.
when the space shuttle when uh Challenger exploded on the way, Columbia disintegrated on the way down. It's like when
Mm-hmm.
you can find the videos of like the moment they realize it's happening. And I didn't realize this, but you can see the director. He's sitting there and as they're realizing, it's like,
And the first thing they do is lock the doors at
lock
mission
the
control.
doors. I remember the first time I saw that, I think I was like 15 the first time I saw that video.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were worried about sabotage. I was like, that's so badass. But I now realize it's a crime scene. We want to know
Yeah.
what happened so it doesn't happen again in the future. Right. So on one hand, he actually is doing which is kind of ironic. Back to rockets, there is some sort of the universe
The
has a
problem
sense
is
of humor.
everyone has already left the building.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an iffy, but like that's a little bit of an asterisk. But much like I have to not always attribute to malice, which can be incompetence, and not always attribute to incompetence, which is also malice, there's another part. It's like I didn't vote for Biden, but I'm not someone that's going to sit here and say Biden's stupid. Because if Biden's stupid, then what am I? You're in the Oval Office. You have access to the nuclear codes. You don't have to like Donald Trump. You don't have to like Barack Obama. You get to a point where it's like Tom Brady doesn't know what he's doing. You may not like him.
You
He's
try
has
quarterbacking an NFL football team sometime.
and get seven. Tom Brady has more championships than any other franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another part of me that has to go. He could be burning it down, but I also have to be very aware from my own point of view and go, I'm also broke and shop at Walmart and drive a Civic. I can't exactly look at the guy worth a third of $1 trillion and go, let me tell you what he's doing wrong. So it's like I have to be aware of like my own people that say AOC is an idiot. Dude, she's younger than me and she's in Congress. You don't have to like her. But if she's an idiot, what are you? And if she's an idiot, how come you're not doing what she's doing? So I have to have, just as an asterisk, my own humility to go, I'm still buying in bulk. I gotta be a little cautious about me going, that guy worth 300 billion, who's the biggest contractor for the Pentagon. Let me tell you a thing or two about him.
Well, you have to,
just my own aside. I have
yeah.
to.
Well, the thing about first of all, the thing about like Biden and AOC and all, it's like okay, first of all, if you look at what Joe Biden has managed to accomplish in his first 2 years, despite all of the forces arrayed against him, it is actually pretty impressive. But he spent decades as a senator.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to get things done in this cat herding environment in Washington. That is a skill. Nancy Pelosi has it. Okay. Very few of the up and coming Republicans have it. That's not because they're Republicans, it's because they just don't have it. This is going to be a really interesting Congress because the Republicans technically have the majority, but I don't think they have a majority that will vote in lockstep on anything.
I think you're right on that. I don't think it's a unified.
So
front.
Pelosi might have only had 2 votes in her, in her majority, but she had the ability to get her caucus in line and get them to do what needed to be done. I don't think there's anybody on the Republican side that can do that. They've got like maybe 10 vote surplus now, give or take. I think there's a couple of elections left to be resolved, and they've already got like 4 or 5 of the crazies that have gone, I'm a hard no for Kevin McCarthy being speaker. That's not going to happen. Doesn't take much of that, and you don't have a consensus on who's leading the party.
I think and most people I know, even the most staunch conservatives I know, myself included, that has always been a thing I do respect is like they've got him in line. The left has an ability for like him or not.
And this is a new thing. This has totally switched places in the last 10 years or so, because it used to be the Republicans that had everybody on their side in lockstep. If they had 1 surplus vote, they could get their caucus to stand in line.
Hey, if
and
Dick
do
Cheney
what the
says we're torturing brown farmers, by golly, we're doing it. It's
damn it, yeah. And it was the Democrats who were like, I don't belong to an organized political party. I'm a Democrat. So, but now it's the other way around. Pelosi has shown how it can be done in the House, and the Republicans have split. The Republican Party is 2 parties now.
Mm-hmm.
They nominally coexist, but they're not really the same party. They don't have the same goals. And when they get to things like electing leadership, they are not going to be all on the same page. There's going to be lots of popcorn being eaten by people on the left watching how this goes out, because after Pelosi's reign, then they're going to be like, oh, look at these assholes. But
it will shift in 10 years. We'll be looking. This will serve someone up, for better or worse. The fractionalized nature will. What does that always precede? That always precedes a strong leader. So you could say a fractioned left 10 years ago, then you get Trump, and now, like you said, it's a new thing for it to all be in lockstep. That would, you could say, if Biden reads the playing field or read the playing field 2 years ago, that's what he saw. you'll have someone in 10 years who will play on that and go, we all know it's a fractioned right. Here I am. I'm Bob Smith from wherever the fuck, and I'm going to whip them all in line. And
Yeah.
it's,
I don't think that, yeah, honestly, what I think is about to happen, and again, mighty events seen from a great distance, it's going to take a little while. I think the Republican Party is turning into two parties. And this has happened in American history a couple of times before. And I think we're watching it happen again. One of the two factions of the Republican Party will keep the name Republican Party.
mm-hmm,
The other will form a new party. And
mm-hmm,
for a brief period of time, there will be three valid parties, and then it will somehow shake back down into two parties that
right.
are in opposition because there's no room for a third small party in the United States. So the whoever's there will probably end up allying with Democrats in order to form a
And get
majority.
absorbed. Yeah. Which
Uh,
is, which
yeah.
is, which is sad because I genuinely think we would all benefit from a third stronger party. Uh,
Well, so many of the rules about how Congress works
Well,
have to be changed, though.
it's about the very. It's not just that America's a two-party system. It's like our very like code of law kind of in
It
order
is.
to have any majority and have you have to
Yeah.
posture in a way that forms two part. No, I get that.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a parliamentarian system where small parties can have a word because one of the big parties might have to make an alliance with you in order to get the majority and form a government.
Yeah,
But we don't have that. It's I like to say we're running democracy 1.0, totally unpatched, no security
just
fixes.
letting this fucker. We were just letting it run. And all
uh,
no all 0 day exploits. It's
yeah.
just yeah. No, yeah,
Uh,
no, all glitch features, GTA Online, go run and touch this tree and $1 million appears. Yeah, no,
and it's
we're
like
still raw dogging.
every other country that does democracy now has better procedures and better voting methods and stuff than we do.
We're just
But
raw dogging it.
well, and our founders recognized the danger of letting those things get changed too easily, and so
Fair enough.
they made it very difficult to make fundamental changes in the U.S. government uh, because they recognized that certain forces would take
Come
advantage
to
of it.
power, then you change the actual code of law and make the illegal shit you're doing legal, and then all of a sudden,
Right.
yeah, dictator.
So that's another thing. But I think we've had what, two schisms like this. You had the Whigs, they went away. Then the post Civil War
What was the no? What
realignments.
was the no? Was that ever a big thing? The know nothings.
Yeah, the Know Nothings. That was pre Civil War. Uh, but yeah, we've had a couple of things just because we had two parties when the country was founded, neither of which exist anymore.
That's wild. But I guess that kind of points to it's
So
probably the natural state of this country then.
yeah, so I think this is a realignment that happens periodically in American politics, and it's startling because it hasn't happened in living memory. So we're going to figure it out again. Uh, but the and we're doing it in the midst of new technologies like social media and all that didn't exist in the past. But in the past you had pamphleters. We've talked about those.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
know,
actually brought those up like a week ago in the porn episode.
mhm.
I actually oddly enough referenced that like in the last couple days.
Yeah, well, it's a central thing in history. That was the social media of its day. Was you would get a small printing press and print pamphlets and distribute them on street corners. Uh, Twitter's a lot easier, obviously. Well, it's all a lot easier with modern technology, which is why it's so much more chaotic. But it's not a totally unknown thing to have these fractions and divisions and stuff. And uh, we're really still kind of wrestling with the whole fallout from slavery. Uh, I mean, to this day, and a lot of the racial animosity and the stuff that's going on really goes back to slavery and Reconstruction and the Lost Cause. Uh, so it's very hard to see exactly where it's going to go. I just look at this and go, I see analog, and I see how this has happened before. I don't see us having the same two parties in the future that we had in the 1990s. That's never going to happen again. One of those two parties is now two parties itself.
Mm-hmm.
And in the three body problem of American politics, you have to reform into two parties.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes some unlikely alliances. And that's likely to be an interesting problem. I have seen serious suggestions that the Democrats might form an alliance with some of the non crazy Republicans to elect a non crazy Republican Speaker of the House,
And then
mostly Democratic support. Now, whether that could seriously happen, I don't know, but technically it could. And given the chaos within the Republican Party, I would not be surprised at all if something like, if we wake up one day and see something like that, you know, moderate person from Kansas is now Speaker of the House. He's not even a representative, but everyone could agree on him.
I'm still holding out on me getting that position. It's a small fraction, but I can I can hold that. Hey Roger, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. So I'm like one of the few units in this building that has a washer dryer. I don't know how I lucked out on that lottery poll, but I do. But uh for whatever reason, this is an old building and it's like not built for it. So like the thing just like the hot air, there's just like a tube that just dumps out, but like not out of my apartment. And so what it does is it just like, and so it doesn't spew out dust everywhere. It has like a container, has like a custom made thing that clamps around it. And it just has water and the water collects all the dust. And then when the water evaporates, you can get rid of the dust. It's like a more complicated dust filter.
Mm-hmm.
This apartment is better than my old apartment in every way except for the washer dryer. But I never quite realized just how much thick, humid air what a surprise dryer pumps out when it's drying
Mm-hmm.
your wet shit. And
Yeah, all that water goes out into the air.
I realized this the other day. I walked out, it was my dryer was running during a podcast, and I walked out and all the windows were fogged up. And I was like, what the fuck? And it was like hot. And there was like everything was kind of moist. And I was like, what the so now when I run it, I open the windows. I just know to do that beforehand. But we're also in a weird spot in that I am in Maine and it is November and it's right now it's let's see. It's 29 degrees that there's a building. I don't know if you can
Yeah, you mentioned it before.
yeah, you probably
Your
can't
person, your personal
my
thermometer and
personal
clock.
time and temperature building. Uh but because of that, it's very fucking cold. And then but you don't even have to have the windows open all the time. It's just like 90% of it when it's gone. You can do the last little bit and it's fine. So I can always tell when the laundry is getting finished because all of a sudden I can start to feel the cold air as it's not because as that's pumping it out and the cold air is coming in, you're just hitting
Yeah,
equilibrium. So it's like 100-degree
yeah.
hot, humid air meeting winter air, and it cancels out to I don't notice it. But I've noticed in the last like 10 minutes, my feet are cold as the cold air is at the bottom of the apartment. And that is my sign that it's time to close the windows. So with that, Roger, monologue.
All right. Well, as Tommy likes me to mention, if you want a paper copy of my book, Tommy's favorite book, The Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect, uh, you can get it from Amazon. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you have a little extra time, you could go to Lulu.com and get it from them. It'll be the same price, but excuse me, uh, I get a lot more of the money because Lulu's the publisher of Origin. And when you're buying it from them, they don't have the overhead of paying Amazon and the distribution network and all. They handle the sale themselves, and their customer service is very good. I've been a satisfied customer for many years. But when you order from Amazon, I get a lot less because they take a cut in order to cover uh, their costs and their profit margin. And the difference is like $6 versus $1.50 per copy. So I'm not trying to make a huge amount of money per copy here. Uh, but by far, the most of my sales are through Amazon because that's the easiest thing. That's what most people do. And so I don't begrudge that. If you got an Amazon gift card or something, knock yourself out, buy it from them. Uh, but, if you have a little extra time and you want to do me a solid, that would be kind of nice. Meanwhile, if you want an audiobook, well, there's no the best audiobook actually is on YouTube right now. If you Google audiobook or put in the search Metamorphosis Prime Unlocked Audio, there's a relatively recent one that was done earlier this year, who fed it through a very advanced AI voice, text to voice program, and it's actually serviceable. I mean, it's not perfect. You can tell that it's mechanical, but it's not jarringly mechanical, and I consider it a serviceable alternative if you'd rather not read the printed book. And of course, if you want an ebook, any of those, and it's like if you want it for your Kindle, Amazon is the publisher of origin, so just go ahead and get it from them. Uh, there are quite a few alternatives now. It's been around in the public eye now for 20 years. Wow. Uh, and of course, I have a few other things. One of these days, we'll get to book 3 of the Curators. The schedule kind of crept up on us tonight, I think. And um, not much else going on. It's that time of year when everyone drives crazy. Be careful out on the roads. There's a bunch of drunk people out there.
This aside from that, everything about this apartment is awesome. That's the only part. I'm out there and I know that I'm also in like the early stages of learning this. In a couple months, I'll have it mastered. I'll be like, hold on, Roger, we're 10 minutes in and I gotta go. But right now, I'm still very much so in like I just arrived at the new world. And I'm like, who are these Native Americans? Should we trade with them? And in a month, I'll be genociding them. But right now, I'm still trying. And so right now, I'm like still trying to figure. I think I've got it figured out. I think if I just crack the windows, that makes so I can't get too high because it will just reach an equilibrium. And then if I leave the bathroom fan on, which is right next to it, I think that sucks it out and the heat rises. So I think that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to and I have these like digital therm that are like built into the wall, so I can like look at different rooms and see what the temperature is. So I'm still trying to like figure out. It's this weird. I don't know what it. I will say though, I do less laundry. I am using less power because I'm just like it's a fucking bitch, and I don't want to do it right now. Um. Also, I think I told you, and I didn't realize that I told you this last time. You can't buy plastic bags at grocery or any stores here. And
Yeah.
what I thought was an immovable part of my life, where I was like, motherfucker, I'll admit, you buy a reusable bag once and just leave it in your car, bring your backpack. You don't need plastic bags. So I'll admit,
Yeah.
but that may not seem important, but and but the reason why,
Every place where they've done that has reported the same thing. People get used to it very quickly, and it eliminates all of the plastic bags
all
floating
of it,
around the frickin' roads.
and
It's astonishing how many of those things end up just floating around in the environment. And you know, yeah, they're convenient and all that,
sure,
but
I
lots of things.
I was also raised by parents who my parents are more hardcore recyclers than anyone I've ever met in my life. And not just cans, but I mean like separate containers in our garage. And once a month, you bring them to like the recycling center for newspaper or wrappers or tin or whatever the fuck. And the one thing has always been collect all the plastic bags, and then you can actually bring it to Walmart, and they do have like a recollection thing where they'll go like boil them down and reuse them.
Mhm.
So I always did that at my old place, but still, the importance of that is not plastic
Yeah.
bags and yes or no, is more so I always do like it. And because I do practice what I preach. I don't just say it on the podcast. I always do like when an immutable, immovable part of my psyche or belief system is changed, and not even by force, but where I'm just like, oh, you don't need it.
Hmm.
I always just, I, to me, that's one of the most delicious parts of life is when something you truly, whatever the fuck, believed in, and then that changes.
Yeah.
And
And it happens remarkably fast, and it's
remark
and
2 weeks
it's
tops.
yeah. And the other thing is the attitude of other people, because it's like I'll go to all right, the self checkout at Walmart with 3 items, okay, which I can easily carry in my hands. It's like I'm at work. I run down. There's a Walmart half a mile from my place of business. I'll go down to the deli and pick up a few things for lunch for the next few days. I can easily carry them, so I won't put them in a bag, but I will print a receipt out so that when I'm walking out the door, they won't accuse me of
Yeah.
shoplifting. But the way people look at you when you don't put your shit in the bag, it's like, dude, what planet are you from?
Yeah.
Planet not wanting to waste another gram of plastic. Just, I need another plastic bag. Like, I don't really. But even just a little thing like that, like not putting the one thing you bought at Home Depot in a bag before you carry it out the door. And people look at you like, is this
Yeah.
guy from Mars or something? You don't know about plastic bags? It's like, yeah, I know about them, but I don't need a plastic bag for one box of screws.
But I always like, and to me, it's like what it represents is I always, because what it is it's kind of a thread, and you tug on it and you realize there's a whole nother sweater. It's like when my mom first started dating my dad. My mom is from like suburban New Jersey. I guess technically it's all the metro of New York. And my dad is from just,
Don't tell that to anyone from New Jersey, man.
they don't fucking care. And then like my dad is from like, we are like the mountain people of northern New Hampshire, right? And my mom was like so shocked when she first went and like, after they'd been dating, like went to his hometown. She was scared. Every truck had a shotgun in the back window. And she's from New York. You
Yeah.
know, her uncles are all like DEA, FBI. There's the fucking mob. I think my uncle, like, he's passed, but he was in like witness protection, like fucking hardcore shit. And then you go up there and it's like, that guy's got a gun. And you realize, well, not only do they all hunt, it's also a very, very unwealthy area. And no, it is a thing to, if you see a partridge, shoot the fucking bird because there's free dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And even that, you see how quickly my mom adapted to where it's like, oh, don't sweat it. Something that you grew up with, like, that's a gun. Like, you should call the police versus within like 10 days, it was like, oh, they're probably going to shoot something on the way home from the mill, like the
Yeah.
paper mill. But I always find it interesting. So even just something I had never thought of 2 weeks ago, like, oh, it's not that it's advised that you don't buy plastic bags. It's, you can't do it here. And, me, my first, I'm like, oh, we're a bunch of fucking hippies. And then after 2 days, I'm like, well, I can't do it. And after 5 days, I'm like, well, this isn't my city. I did move here. This is their place that these people live. I'm fucking an alien here. Finally, like, oh, it's a dollar for this reusable bag. So now I'm just like, I can already start to feel it seeping into my brain. Or like someone that me 2 weeks ago would have called insufferable. Now I'm just like, I find myself like, you really don't need plastic. I can see myself becoming a snooty douchebag. And I have to catch myself and be like, vice versa is true. In
Tommy,
another
you
fuck,
Tommy, you snowflake, you.
you snowflake fucking liberal. And it's like, but then it's like, no, what that really does is you start to see the fluidity of society and you
Yeah.
go, oh, I also, okay, and then you go down to Valdosta, Georgia for 3 days and you go, oh, I get the whole God's guns America thing, and they're all farmers and they're all small. You go, oh, I get it. It's
Yeah.
so I don't know, kind of like a random thing. It's like,
And on the flip side, look at all the people who thought electric vehicles were the, most stupid, horrible things in the world until they got in a Tesla in insane mode and hit the accelerator and they realized what an electric car
and
can
look how many
do.
fucking conservatives now love Elon, despite him being the electric car messiah. And then
Hmm.
vice versa, how many hippies are like, he's the devil? And it's like, I thought he was the electric car messiah. the fluidity of it all it is boggling.
Elon is a multi-dimensional asshole. He manages to be an asshole to everybody.
It's impressive. I'm not gonna say it's not impressive. You don't have to like it, but it is impressive.
Yeah. No, but I think he stepped in it. This is going to be one of the truly spectacular business implosions of the modern era. I mean, uh, it's and it's not because I'm saying, well, yeah, look at this idiot Elon Musk. Obviously, he does know how to do certain things. The advantage he has at both SpaceX and Tesla is that he has a lot of employees who are themselves evangelists. They believe in his cause.
Sure.
They're at SpaceX because they want humans to become a multiplanetary species. They're at Tesla because they believe in EVs are the future, that gas
Sure.
cars can't be the future. Then he goes,
Steve Jobs curated that environment as well.
right. But then he buys Twitter. He's
Hmm.
owned Twitter for about 10 minutes and he starts rearranging things in ways that he obviously has not thought through. Normally before you start doing the sort of thing that he did at Twitter, you have a consultant team, you have advisors, you do a prospectus, you go through, figure out who all the employees are and what they do, so you know which ones you want to fire. And he didn't do any of that. Now, that's not me ragging on the guy because he's a billionaire and I wish I was a billionaire. That's me ragging on the guy because he did something stupid,
Hmm.
and it's objectively stupid. It is going to go down in business history. I mean, it's going to be one of the things they talk about 100 years from now in business history. Uh, just because that's not how you do that. Uh, but his ego, in fact, the whole not taking, just the not paying the $1 billion and buying the company anyway, that was ego. By any objective measure at this point, it would have obviously been very much more in his favor to just pay them the $1 billion to get out of the deal once he realized that it wasn't what he thought it was. But he couldn't admit to himself that he made a mistake. This is the flaw. This is where his ego got in the way of his common sense. He couldn't admit that he made a mistake. And when he realized he was in a trap, it was going to cost him $1 billion. He really wasn't going to be able to get out of paying the $1 billion to get out of the deal. He said, well, fuck it. I'll buy it anyway then.
Hmm.
That is not the act of a super intelligent multi-billionaire. That is the act of a 6-year-old who has been told he can't have what he wants. I'm going to have it anyway.
Yeah.
And because this is the flaw with people like Musk, to a certain extent with Trump too, is that no one has ever told them no and made it stick. He just doesn't have a comprehension that no, there are things in the universe that you can't just will into being what you want by the force of your personality and your money and all that. He basically had, he inherited the Emerald Mine. He founded PayPal. Now, those of us who have used PayPal since the beginning remember the days when Ellen owned PayPal as being a hellscape because he didn't want to follow any of the rules. So you had them freezing people's accounts, and there was no consistent mechanism to get it back. Right when the series Game of Thrones started airing on HBO, George R. Martin was in a huge argument with PayPal because they had frozen his account and he needed the money to pay his rent. That was his income at the time. That was before he was getting all the millions of dollars from the series revenue and all that.
Oh yeah, I remember reading that.
And PayPal was doing that to all kinds of people. And it was right around the time that Ellen departed that the regulators came in and said, you may not think of yourself as a bank, but if you walk like a bank, talk, quack like a bank, and waddle like a bank,
Yeah.
we're going to insist that you adhere to the laws that regulate banks, which means that you have to pay interest on deposits and accounts. You have to have mechanisms for people to resolve disputes. You can't just decide you're going to keep somebody's money because of reasons.
Yeah, because fuck them. Yeah.
Okay. And that was a major change. And that was right around the time when Ellen left because Ellen hates regulations, right? So Ellen sold PayPal. And that's when he started Tesla or SpaceX. I forget which one
It
came
was
first.
Zip2 and then PayPal.
But
I think SpaceX first.
yeah, I think it was SpaceX first. Uh, but he's never had the experience of actually being forced to eat his failure. He's always, in the case of PayPal, he slipped out before the regulators came in and told him how bad things were being fucked up and how different it was going to have to be. And dealing with PayPal nowadays is a much different experience. I still use it to this day, and it's like a bank. You know, I've got thousands of dollars in my PayPal account. It's in a lot of cases, it's very much the easiest way to buy something online.
It's actually I didn't realize that's the last year or so. I like never really bought delivery. I don't think I've like ever regularly used a delivery service. I mean, I maybe ordered pizza like 3 times in my life before I moved into my last apartment. And then I would get shit faced every Thursday and then I learned I was like, well, you can order more than just pizza. I didn't know that Grubhub and Uber Eats existed until like summer 2021. I was like, you can order fucking Taco Bell. And then and then, just getting shit faced and as per the White Claws. And it would, but no, the point is, and I realized, and I'd be fucked up playing video games and I'd be like, I don't know my fucking debit card number. You can pay with PayPal. Yeah, that's connected to my, go for it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, also, if you want to buy anything from eBay,
Yeah.
then it is way the hell easier to use PayPal. And I buy a lot of stuff from eBay because they're not the auction place anymore, but they're the Chinese bazaar, and they have a lot of electronics, things like breakout boards and stuff, and I use those
The
in
Wild
my
West
work a lot.
Amazon.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like if I want an HX711 load cell adapter breakout board, uh, I can hope that Amazon has someone who'll have one for $10, or I can buy 5 of them for $5 off eBay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're not wrong. And then on the kind of, there is a weird thing that I get is, as always, I play devil's advocate. And so like, saying like, Musk or Trump or Biden, they're not stupid. I also have to clarify because you do see this, the fierce defense of Elon or Bill Gates or even athletes. Much like Biden isn't stupid, Trump isn't stupid, Obama isn't stupid. You don't have to like them. They also don't need to be defended. So if I'm playing, just for anyone listening, if I'm playing devil's advocate to Roger's criticism of Elon, I'm also not a fanboy that's like he's the voice of a. Again, I'm still
Yeah.
buying in bulk and putting my groceries in my Civic in an apartment. I'm not defending or criticizing anyone who is doing a lot better than me. So yeah, I don't, maybe this tanks Elon and he goes bankrupt. I don't give a
Well,
shit. In the same way, I don't care what happens to someone else's podcast. I just don't care.
well, don't forget, both Donald and Elon had the advantage of getting hundreds of millions of dollars from their
Yeah,
parents
sure.
in inheritance. Uh, it does take a special kind of stupid to blow that, particularly in the way Donald did. The you know Having had a friend who made $2 million counting cards, I can look at what Trump did in the casino industry in Atlantic City in a very objective way
Mm,
and say it was an incredibly stupid thing that a lot of 12-year-olds could have avoided by doing math that most 12-year-olds can do, and he didn't bother. And it was because of his ego. Is that familiar?
Yeah.
That is going to be both Don, so
As
Trump Trump managed to drive a casino empire that was functioning and profitable into the ground. Now, a casino license is a license to print money. It takes a special kind of stupid to ignore the fundamentals so badly that you drive a casino into bankruptcy. Now, there were small joints when they started to expand on the Gulf Coast. There were little joints that did go into bankruptcy because they overextended themselves and all. But you're talking about someone who had a going concern. It was stable, and he blew it up by building a monument to his ego that there was no way the market could ever sustain. And Steve Wynn did the exact same thing 10 years later. That with the Bellagio and the Beau Rivage.
gotcha.
Uh, so you've got in both cases, this is special kind of stupid casino edition. Both men went into this going, this is a monument to my ego. It can be the Taj was going to be the bestest, most wonderfulest of them all. Price is no object. And what he didn't factor in is that the Atlantic casino market is finite. Not only that, it was shrinking. Everyone in the industry knew that Mississippi was about to legalize gaming when he started building the Taj. Now, once Mississippi starts having casinos on the Gulf Coast, all them people from Florida,
They don't need a
all right, are they going to go to the shithole Atlantic
Atlantic
City?
City or fly out to Vegas. Fuck no, they're not.
So this was about to happen. Everyone knew it was about to happen, and he still overextended himself building this thing with without paying any attention to how much it cost or whether the market cap, in that area could possibly make the payments on the loans. Steve Wynn did the exact same thing 10 years later when he built the Bellagio and the Beau Rivage. He was price is no object. We want hand paid in silk. We want hand inlaid tiles, and the best of everything. There was actual gold leaf on the roof of the Bellagio.
The roof or the ceiling?
Well, the ceiling.
Okay.
Okay. But it wasn't like gold paint. No,
No.
they actually did gold leaf with actual gold.
Well, that's just retarded.
Yeah. Well, that was and again, that was because Steve Wynn was like the best of everything. Nothing that okay. Well, you've got to make the loan payments. Now, what happened to Wynn is he had a going concern. He had the Mirage, he had the Golden Nugget, he had Treasure Bay, and those were profitable. Very profitable, in fact. They were the Cadillac places to go in Las Vegas. Well, he opens the Bellagio, which is admittedly nicer because he spent $2 billion building it. But on the other hand, all of the people he's attracting to it, he's attracting them from his other properties. So it started a war between his own properties to attract the big gamblers who could, gamble enough to help them pay the bills. And it's like the market even in Las Vegas, the market is finite. And he just didn't take that into account when he decided to build this thing. And so he wasn't able to make the loan payments, blah, blah, blah. This is about to happen to Ellen. He's not going to be able to make the loan payments. What's going to happen then? Okay, he's going to go into receivership because the Saudi loans are backed by his Tesla stock. He's probably going to lose control of Tesla. The banks are going to take control of Twitter. He's going to be left probably about $50 billion lighter than he was when he started this dumbass project.
Oh no.
Which means he'll only have $150 billion instead of 200. I
How
know.
the fuck will he get by?
I know. He'll have to go dumpster diving or something. But it's not the mark of, like the superior man, that's objectively stupid.
De- Devil's advocate. In comparison to other trust fund kids, and this is a big devil's advocate. This is a stretch.
Mhm.
Trump and Elon are doing all right instead of being wrapped around a telephone pole with a dead hooker. That's not much of a compliment, but
Elon is.
if
I'm
I
not so sure about Donald.
he still
I'm
has
not.
at least more than me. He still has at least a bill.
I
I'm
wouldn't.
talking relative to other trust. This is
I
not a
wouldn't
big
be too sure of that. I wouldn't be too sure that he has a positive net worth. No one knows how much he owes to various people.
in the
It's
very low bar of trust fund babies who are dead in a hotel in Monaco, still owning a house, even in appearance, is a plus. It is not a big plus. If I am the nicest prisoner, that's not a big field of competition. However, if I've only shanked one hombre this year, I might still be the nicest. I am
yeah.
doing this. I am saying this statement purely as an exercise of my own devil's advocacy
Uh,
plasticity.
the main thing Trump has going for him at this point is that he still owns Mar-a-Lago. I mean, he
In
doesn't
relation to dead trust fund kids,
because Trump Tower is up in the air. I'm not sure that he can keep that. Uh, he technically owns it now, but
does he own the other one in New York? The one right next to the UN? Or does he live in no, he lives in one in Midtown. There's another one, Trump World Tower. I always remember I
yeah,
loved skyscrapers growing up. And there's another boxy one right next to the UN. I remember taking a tour when I was like 10 of one of the like the river or like the boat tours around Manhattan. And I remember them
yeah.
saying Derek Jeter lived at the top of
I
the
don't know,
building.
but Trump has a lot of real estate that is technically his at the moment. That isn't going to be his for very long because there's a lot of loans that are about to be called in,
I'm gonna look that up.
and he'll probably keep Mar-a-Lago. That may end up being the only thing he owns outright at the rate things are going.
Trump World Tower. I don't know if that one's still his. Yeah, it's right next door to the United Nations. Not important.
Yeah, but the thing is, I might have more money than Donald Trump
Maybe.
because no one knows how much he owes, and he keeps that a very careful secret. It's one of the reasons that he apparently does not want some of this tax documentation coming out, is that it might reveal that he isn't as rich as he claims.
Do you
Uh,
know in 2016, I want to say it was 2016. I was listening to an old Tim Dillon podcast from 2016, so I don't know if he was talking about something that at that time was in the past. But Ann Coulter wanted to run for like mayor of some city somewhere, and the reason she didn't was because she would have had to legally disclose her age.
mhm.
That's I get it. I get don't ask woman or I get it. Because maybe someone is 28 and they look older. And, as a guy, you never guess if they're pregnant. You don't ever guess the age unless it is exceeding. So they're in a wheelchair, like, and they're, on the deathbed. Don't assume they're over 21. They'll get angry. But that's a weird one. Because, like,
Yeah.
I don't think she's not my type, but, like, she's clearly not like 18 or 28 or 38. It's fine. We age. We're humans. That was a weird one.
Well, that's another instance of vanity getting
Sure.
in the way of living your life. Uh,
Again, I if AOC didn't want to declare her age, what is she? 29, 30, 31,
yeah, I think
whatever
it's
the fuck.
I want to say 29, but
I get
yeah.
it. Maybe because she's hot. Maybe she still wants to come across as 28 and she's actually I get it. Women can hold on to that. I get
She
it.
actually doesn't. I don't think she has a problem with people knowing her age. I think she's disclosed it.
Hypothetically,
Yeah.
if she didn't, I'd kind of get it. You're still young enough. You can pull it off. But it's an odd one if you are clearly not 28. You and I aren't. We're not. I'm not telling people. I'm not. Maybe I'm still in college. No, I'm not. I graduated 10 years ago. It's whatever.
Yeah. And I look 58. I'm,
You look beautiful, and I won't hear otherwise, Roger. I won't hear another fucking word of it.
but I will tell you, my wife has always looked a lot younger than she is. And she's 6 years older than I am, and she does not mind people knowing that she'll be retirement age next year. It happens, right? But when she was in her 40s, we were in getting on the boat, the Copa Casino in Gulfport, and this kind of hefty female black security guard beelines us and totally ignores me, goes to her. It's like, Miss, I need to see your ID. And Elaine burst out laughing. And the guard just backs up a bit. All right. If you're over 40, I don't want to know. And Elaine just burst out laughing again.
Good Lord.
And the guard just like, all right, all right, all right, just get on the boat. Because yeah, when she was in her early 40s, she could have passed for late 20s, early 30s with no problem.
Wow.
And to this day, well, she started, having to do some of the cosmetic stuff to keep it up. But she'll tell you the first thing that gets in the way of it is what happens to your face. You start developing the lines and all. You can't really hide that. But she could still pass for being 15 or 20 years younger than she is. In her 60s, she could be easily pass for being in her 40s.
My mom, just the physical exercise she does is still
Mm-hmm.
fucking. My mom will still get out and go swim 10 miles or go run. My mom's 64. So my mom will get out in the middle of the fucking summer. I'm not, dude, I'm not, she'll go for a 10-mile run. It's insane. I do remember working at,
Neither of us are doing that.
neither you nor me. This isn't even like, Roger, you ain't doing that. Hey, and neither am I. It's, yeah. Yeah. I do. Yeah, I do remember that at the liquor store. Every once in a while, you'd like ID a woman and they'd giggle, but I was like not trying to like flirt. I was like, I genuinely don't fucking know how old this woman is, and this is not my store. I'm getting minimum wage. I am not trying to be the butt of some sting. Um, but I think I've got Dale in like 10 minutes, so there's a point I want to bring up. I don't remember what I don't know if we have enough time to flush it out. Do you think that so just like, parties, like we might be seeing like the devolution of one party and it's kind of weird because it does happen, but it's weird living through it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you think that are we reaching like a point of wealth aggregation where Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, I wonder if we are going to start to see them start becoming more than just rich people. And I'm not for or against it. This is just an observation. But I feel like we are reaching a point where it's no longer just ridiculous. Where you just Google, you're with your friends and you Google, you're like richest man in the world. Holy shit. It does seem like we're reaching a point where the fact that he is free enough to just, if Twitter sinks, he'll only have 150. We are reaching a weird point where it's like, how long until they buy a Blackwater or a Wagner
Mm-hmm.
or build their own PMC? And then when they start, look at like those artificial islands off the coast of Dubai, how long until you create your own landmass? Or like SpaceX, do you just leave? Like,
Yeah.
are we reaching a point where it's like, are we
That's
entering a
Elon
new
Musk's explicitly stated goal.
exactly. And then when you tie in transhumanism and the amount of money this used to be pipe dreams, and then Ray Kurzweil will talk about it. But as we're starting to see, it's like no longer would they just it's a scientist who's like, I made a bacteria that eats plastic. As we're gonna start reaching this new world where it's like, yeah, no, I just decided to, turn off senescence in my liver. Are we gonna start to see a speciation of the wealthy? Like a truly separation?
Well, we might see them turned into dinner. I mean that uh it's one of those another one of those things that's happened periodically throughout history. And the rich have spent the entire 19th and 20th centuries having all of the restraints that are put on them removed.
Mm.
Those restraints are put on them for a reason, because it's not good to have all of the money in your society falling toward this black hole in the
10
middle of it.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, because money has a gravitational attraction. It
It
attracts
is.
more money. And the whole thing about the antitrust acts, about having the highest, the maximum income tax rate be 90%, that was all about making sure that nobody got that powerful. And the people who put those rules into place had good reasons. But what happens is those reasons work long enough that we forget why those reasons worked. And then when someone tries to take the rules away, we're like, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, that sounds reasonable.
It's Teddy Roosevelt joke. That was pre-World War One.
So yeah, it's like, well, world isn't like that anymore, but people are.
And
And
and financial laws are.
yeah, so it's yeah, we're approaching a point where it's going to become more and more intolerable that so much wealth is concentrated into the hands of so few people. Uh, this generation, Gen's, what do you call
I think Gen Z, that's the
Gen
youngest.
Z is the youngest. Uh, they have seen their prospects for the future collapse.
Hmm.
And much of the reason for that is that the wealth that used to be spread out through the middle class has been hoarded by people like Elon Musk. Uh, and it's not being distributed anymore. It doesn't trickle down. The guy who came down up with that back in the 80s admitted in the 90s, oh, yeah, well, that was just bullshit that we made up so we could do whatever we wanted. That was, the guy who coined that phrase for Ronald Reagan said that in an interview.
Do you know, was it Exxon? I think it was Exxon or BP. Do you know they invented the term carbon footprint
Mm-hmm.
so that subconsciously you would view it as your burden and not theirs?
Yeah,
Doesn't
well,
mean it's entirely false. You do have a carbon foot, but I just along those lines. Another one.
thank you, Edward Bernays, for inventing propaganda. Uh,
He was a good
uh,
man. I'm kidding.
uh,
It was a joke.
yes, he's one of the most evil people in
He
human
said
history,
he had a great. I know that's why it was a joke. He had a. It's like my friend texted me the other. Marvin Heemeyer, Killdozer. You're aware of that story? You know that story. I know. Killdozer happened in like the 90s. Marvin Heemeyer was some dude out in the Midwest, and a long line of government regulation kind of fucked his small like whatever
Oh
factory.
wait, the guy who
Built a bulldozer, the
built the
tank, and
armored bulldozer. Okay, yeah, I
bulldozer,
remember that.
and
Yeah,
uh, and it's again a weirdly tribal thing where some people are completely against the guy going on a rampage. Weird.
and some are like, "You go, guy, you go." They
Some
would just like,
some people just like observe it and like
if
laugh.
only I had the balls to do that.
Well, people always look at, I think his quote was, I'm just a reasonable man driven to unreasonable things, which great quote, sure, but that can also be co-opted. I personally think Heemeyer was
Where have I heard something like that before?
hmm,
Oh, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore.
yeah, yeah. Or in a little more guttural, abrupt German voice.
Well, you
But
do remember that the movie that
the
came from
network, yeah, right?
Network,
Yeah.
yes.
But what was I gonna say? No, in terms of just making jokes, my buddy texted me a Killdozer Lego set, and it was like, you can do it too. And he always he always he's and I texted him back. I just said a reasonable man driven to unreasonable things, and he said just like Adolf and Mao. And I always love that. I always just reasonable men. But no, I think the line from Bernays was PR is just propaganda. It's just reworded propaganda. No, PR is propagandized propaganda.
Yeah.
No, this isn't propaganda.
Public relations is the propaganda term for propaganda
It's
because
fucking
propaganda got a
it's like,
bad name.
it's like it's this weird like meta theme. It's the reflection of the reflection. It's like, no, it's not. It's not propaganda. It's PR, and it's like that is propaganda. Calling it propaganda. It's
calling it PR is propaganda.
And I fucking I don't love it, but like I do love the ingenuity of demons. Like I think they're bad people, but there is something that from an objectively just removed watching it like I watch a sports game that I'm not involved in or invested in. There is something I do find interesting about watching someone like I will never they're evil, but I will never not watch with some sort of intrigue a documentary about like the '08 financial CEOs. They're
Mm-hmm.
all baked to a crisp with fake tans. They've all got the white cufflinks. They've all got a pearl white Bentley with veneers. They've got just a big fake smile and a gold, and they're all just wrinkly and grilled, and they all just look the same, just like mass produced, testifying in front of Congress. But there is something about it's like they did climb to the top. They're demons. I don't respect them, and they're evil. And to date, none of them have been punished.
Yeah.
But in terms
Well,
of just a movie character, there is something. I don't like evil, but it doesn't mean you're not intrigued
it
by
can
the
be it can be
Nazgul or the Eye of Sauron. You get
it
what I'm
can be
saying?
charming. Evil can be charming.
Even just interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Well,
interesting.
think about this. Who wore it better? Sigmund Freud, who wanted to improve the world. And as much as he was wrong about a lot of stuff that we know nowadays, he did all this research, wrote these monographs, trying to come up with a way for people to heal and improve themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And he sends his papers to his relative Edward, who goes, you know, I think we could make some serious money with this shit.
It's but there's something about the human simulation that you kind of have to love just how evil it is. Like there is something because we also do a lot of beautiful things, but and again, they should all all the evil should be hung till they're dead. But there is something impressive. I watched an interview the
Well,
other night.
you know what that is, Tommy. That's the story. That's what makes it an interesting story.
Yes, that's the fucking it's
The interesting character in any story is the bad guy.
yeah, in the future, like 1,000 years from now, and like there's no such thing as hunger or even like biological food, and we're all in like a state of equilibrium and no pain. Go by Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect. You eventually look back and you go, God, those were some characters. Like it is wild.
Yeah.
Like I kind of like
I mean, that's my book. You know, there are no good characters in Mopey. Every character in Mopey is objectively evil to some extent,
yes,
either inadvertently or deliberately. You know, it's and but it is also the story of humanity, that people like this shape the world that we live in.
so again, it's like
I mean, it's like it was a dick move for Carolyn to destroy the
it
universe.
is, but like you can't it's almost like viewing the really bad times in your life and you kind of fondly smile and go those built character and they made me who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Now if you went well, here's my time machine, do you want I'd say get the fuck away from me. If you had I look back and it's like I started the podcast living above my parents' garage, working at a liquor store, and my senile dog was barking, and I'm locked in the house because there's a pandemic and there's riots across the city, and Trump's on Twitter. I look back at it and go, that really was the cauldron of the podcast. If someone went, do you want to go back to February? I'd put a gun to your head and I'd say, stay away from me. I like where I am now. In that same way, we sort of have the luxury of looking at evil from a distance through both time and space that you can kind of admire it for the demon that it is. You go, well, of course, Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, did all that. You don't want to meet him. You don't want him to be dating. You don't want his wife to be your sister. But there
You
is
definitely don't want him handling your money.
no. But if I can just go watch it on a movie, yeah, I don't want to go watch a movie about Mother Teresa. I want to watch Jordan Belfort. So like that's a weird thing. Then like why are we drawn to it because it's taboo because we know we shouldn't be doing that? Is it because it's it wouldn't be attractive? I guess it wouldn't be attractive if the average person was evil. I think
Well,
because most people are good, that's
yeah, it's the source of drama. It's the thing that most of us aren't ever going to be. It gives us a chance to explore that vicariously,
yeah.
and ask, would we actually do that if we were in that situation? And if not, why not?
Yeah.
All right, does that make this person bolder? does do I have inhibitions that are holding me back that he didn't,
Yeah.
or is it because he's straight up evil motherfucker and I'm a better person than he is?
Yeah.
Either way, the stories of people like that are, you know, they take us out of our ordinary experience and show us how the world is made into what it is by people who are at the pivot points. And sometimes those are bad people, sometimes those are good people who get in over their heads and don't realize how it's turning sour on them. But all of those are, that's uh I mean, this is something the ancient Greeks even figured out, is that you don't have a story without drama and conflict.
Yeah.
And the reason that didn't I wasn't able to write Mopey until 1994, even though I had the foundational idea in 1982, was I couldn't find the source of conflict that would make it a story. And once I did, it was truly awful.
Well, it's like I used to play Sim City and I'd build like the perfect city.
Let me guess, you tortured your Sims.
Yeah, of course. But like I'd always build my own mountain with my own like military fortification, and then I would just rule the peons. And it was a fun challenge to see like could you make a functioning city? Like could you, with water and trash removal and taxes and whatever, it's a fun puzzle. But once you start to get it all under wraps and you have good trade with your neighbors and the bridges are good and it's fun
Oh, boring.
and then you hit save as and you remove the police department. You get rid of the regulators. Maybe something happens at the fission power plant.
Mhm.
What
Well,
happens when
really,
a
that's what's
fire?
happened. Really, that's what's happened to our society. When you say, well, you get rid of the regulators, that happened to us.
Yeah.
That's
And
what we're living through.
and so I would play the game and what happens when riots do take? What happens when I shut down the prisons? And it would just go insane. And then I would have fun trying to get it back on track because it was like,
Mm-hmm.
how good am I at the game? And sometimes it was fucked and I just had to go back to an earlier save. And sometimes you could bring in like the military and then you could scale it down to the cops and then you could actually get it back on track.
Yeah.
But you work so hard to get to a point of utopian equilibrium. And then when you get there, you go, this is fucking boring. And you throw
Mm-hmm.
a wrench into the gear. And it's like, is that the ape in us that will never be removed? That's like, hey, it's looking good. We've got the industrial
Well,
revolution, the agricultural.
look how popular disaster movies are. Things like
Exactly. Exactly.
2012, The Day After
Day
Tomorrow.
after
It's
tomorrow,
like
yeah. San
uh,
Andreas, yeah.
it's the I remember seeing The Towering Inferno in a theater in the 70s. And that was almost a Star Wars moment because it was the first movie of its time. It was the first modern disaster movie, and that was Irwin Allen invented the form, and it was like, yeah, let's take all these people who are minding their business and living their lives, and just throw a fucking cluster bomb into
Light
their
them on
lives,
fire. Literally.
literally in that
Why
movie.
can't you turn away from a fucking video of 9/11? You
Yeah.
can't not look at videos of you think something as reprehensible as people jumping into their deaths. It has 50 million views. You can still go
Mhm.
back and find them. 9/11 jumpers. They're like the most viewed videos. That bomb in Beirut that went off. Like
Yeah.
it's horrible. You can't stop watching it. It is like a weird, I don't know.
Well, and part of it, I think, is also testing ourselves psychologically. It's like, well, if this did happen, how would I react? Would I react better than these characters? Would I just go hide under the bed until the building got crushed and I die? Or,
Yeah, that's true.
so it kind of allows us to face these things without actually facing them and dying, as we
Hmm.
would probably do. And there's a lot of theory behind that in some circles. But yeah, it's definitely a big part of the human condition. Uh, I'm looking at the clock. Do you have Dale waiting in the wings?
Yeah, no, Dale's supposed to show up. He hasn't showed up, so I say we just keep shooting the shit.
All
If you're down with
right.
that, I'm down with that. I
Yeah.
don't. I'm fucking. Most other people, I'll be like, where are they? But Delta Force Dale isn't exactly not punctual, so I would imagine something has happened, or he got a
Uh,
call from the president, and Dale is Halo jumping into Beijing right now. Both are on the table. Dale might have fallen
yes.
asleep. He might be trying to kill the president of China. I don't know. They are both equally plausible. I actually don't know. Um, but yeah, I don't know. So it's like because like Rogan said it about who the fuck is it? The little Irish fighter, Conor McGregor. I say little. He could beat he could kill me. Whatever. I don't care. Um, and someone was criticizing him. They're like, he's such a good fighter, but they're like, he's got all this money, he's wearing chain, or it's like Floyd Mayweather. One of his muscle men always has a duffel bag with $1 million. And it's like, why do
Hmm.
you gotta have that? How come you can't just be the best point guard in the NBA? You also gotta have tattoos from your eyebrows to your toes. But Rogan said it. He's like, but that's part of the the character. It's not just enough that you're like a multiple belt winning boxer. You also have your name tattooed on you and you're covered in gold. It's part of the aura
Yeah.
of it's not just enough that you're the gold medal boxer. You're also sitting on a pile of gold with a chrome Lamborghini. It's supposed to be gross, right? It's supposed to be another level. And
Yeah.
I think we like our characters. If I'm gonna have a podcast studio, it's gonna be
But if you think
a
about
neon
that,
nightclub.
yeah, if you think about that, think about how small scale that is compared to someone like Elon. It's like so you've got the gold chain and the tats and all this and all, but then look at Elon.
By Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
can I can blow $50 billion and still be one of the richest people in the world.
But I think it's the fucking archetype. Yeah, my rockets are going to keep landing and the DoD is going to keep paying me. Fuck Floyd Mayweather
Yes.
with $1 million in cash. I bought Twitter and it failed. Whatever. I'm
Yeah.
watching another car from
I
my
didn't
company
I didn't think
into
it should work
orbit.
the way it was. So yeah, whatever. Yeah. And and he's knocking down that town in Texas on his rocket
But that's
testing
what
place.
but that's what I mean. It's like, no, it's not good. And if I lived in that town, I'd probably be angry. I'd probably be it's it's like China. Like I don't agree with the 2 million Uyghurs in concentration camps or the Foxconn factories with nets outside of the windows so they don't jump to their death because they're assembling silicon wafers for a penny an hour. That being said, it's a great story for a great empire. Like it ain't good, but it's 1.5 billion people working themselves to death. Man, there did you see like a week or two ago when G won his third term and like during the communist meeting? So like during the meeting, the
Yeah.
former leader, the security services came in and escorted him out. And none of that shit happens by accident. So that was for opt. He's like this old guy sitting next to G. And like the equivalent of the Secret Service came in while they're all clapping and they tap on him and they grab him by the arms and they remove. That'd be like if at the inauguration Biden had Obama like arrested.
Yeah.
And it's like that's evil. That guy's probably dead now. But man, it's great. It's like if it's gonna be an evil empire, like you have to have that. Xi's the third term president. Remove and the thing is no one even acknowledges it's happening.
Yeah. I mean, who's everybody's favorite character in the Star Wars franchise? It's Darth Vader.
That's what I mean, right? And it's like when it's here and it's happening, yeah, we gotta go bomb the fucking the Fuhrer bunker and arrest all the. Well, actually, bring all the Nazis back here, give them jobs. But for the lore, we gotta kill most of them. But even that, no, that's what you want for the empire. Is you want the real story to be
Yeah.
like, so did America? We just hung them all. No, you know it's a lot sexier. No, Operation Paperclip. We brought them all back here and then went to the moon. Like we want it. We don't want
Yeah.
it, but we want it.
Well, what you want is the technicians. You don't want
And
the leader.
you would be a great lawyer for Curtis LeMay, who who spearheaded this. You'd say this isn't about Nazis. This isn't about eugenics. We just want we got to know how to build the rockets.
They had
But
the
like,
technical know-how.
right? If it is April 1945 and it's you and me, and actually it was the Red Army, and we're closing in on the fucking bunker, you want them all dead. You're liberating the concentration camps. You want to kill every last Nazi motherfucker there is. Of course. But once they're all dead and you have the luxury of looking at it in hindsight and they're all gone, there is something kind of alluring about like, but then the predecessor to the CIA brought them all over here so we could go to the moon. It's like you want that to be true. If it didn't happen,
Well,
you'd
yeah.
wish it did happen. What is
Well,
that?
they had all this technology that they had been developing, and it's like we wanted that.
Yeah. I'm sure it was just the technology and not the
I
fact that
mean,
we also kind of liked what they were doing. Not
well,
us.
that was
I mean the demons at the helm.
yeah. Well, there was that too. There were
Well,
obviously people. Oh, I mean, there were people all through World War II on our side who
who
thought,
were
you know,
funding them?
yeah,
Prescott
they
Bush.
liked the Nazis. They were like,
They
no,
helped
we
their
like these
eyes.
people.
George Bush's
Yeah.
grandfather was like, "Yeah, I'll give him some money."
They're like, it's too bad the Japanese screwed these guys by bombing Pearl Harbor because they were our, friends before
Yeah,
this.
so they put their finger in the air, saw the winds was changing, and were like, "Hey, listen, we gotta do the Nuremberg trials." They knew how to pivot. Those demons
Hmm.
knew how to pivot. It doesn't make it good. It's fucking great that the
Yeah.
DuPont family, the Remingtons, was it the Rockefellers or the Carnegies or the descendants of them, got together and tried to hire Smedley Butler to take 300,000 troops who were rioting about their bonuses they still hadn't been paid since World War I, 15 years later in 1933. They went to Smedley with $500,000 in gold and said, "Hey, we're going to march on the White House, remove FDR, and make you king." Yeah, that's a great story. Thank God it didn't happen, but it's a great story.
Hmm.
So in real life, we don't want it to happen. And when there is evil, we want to squash it. But once it's safely killed and hung or employed and smuggled back to America, whatever, tomato, tomato,
Yeah.
then you can look back at it, much
Well,
like
I
the
mean,
shit.
let's face it. Once Werner and his friends were back over here, they were not accidentally hitting London anymore, and
Yes.
we put their skills to much better use doing more
Yes.
interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So, or less bad stuff.
So I don't know I'm realizing there's really no thesis to what I'm saying.
Well, what you're talking about is drama.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about the essence of what makes a story, and
And I
yes,
would like for the lawyer in the future case to really take in what Roger's saying now, because he is retroactively my defense.
yeah. Well, I mean, I wrote the Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect for God's sake. So I had destroyed the universe twice in one 60,000 word book.
I don't want to give a spoiler alert, but yeah, what do they do when they have everything that they've ever wanted?
Yeah. And so that uh was one of those things when it came over me, I was like, oh my God. That was like, it was like all of a sudden it was literally like a moment in time when I had no idea how this story could possibly be ended to I woke up with this vision in my head and it's like, oh, that's how it ends. Everyone goes fucking insane. That's a happy thought. But on the other hand, you have it's like a lot of the early Christian mystics believed that the reason that God made the world the way that it is was that in the early going when God made the angels, that it was boring, and they were too perfect. They didn't have anything to struggle against. So God made the world like it is so that humans would have something to struggle against in order to give us something to do so it wouldn't be boring and obvious. And that's didn't make it into the Bible as it was constituted at the Council of Nicaea, but it was part of the early mysticism of several of the cults, and that idea did survive in some venues. Uh, the it's now that is like we're getting to Book of Job levels of God is evil
Of
here.
in tribulations, yeah. But I don't know. I kind of look at it like it's like the paradox of my like in college, not drinking, not smoking, working out every day, meditating every day, and studying 12 hours a day for a distant goal, all the while knowing deep down inside I was miserable. And then taking several years after I graduated and after my brother died to indulge all of those pleasures and realizing it was miserable and coming
Mhm.
full circle and realizing that truly the happiest I've ever been is now. I do all the same things I did in college. I wake up, I work out, I meditate, I read books all day, and I do podcasts and I work my ass off and I don't drink or smoke anymore. The difference is I I know that this is just a drama. Whereas in pre-med, I truly thought that was my life is work. Now I accept that I'm doing a dance.
Yeah,
I know this is just a dance and that I can leave anytime I want, but I like the grind. I like working towards it.
yeah. There's oh shit, there's a song that's on. Well, basically, it's like you reach a point when you realize that you are an actor playing yourself in the drama of life.
And and what and once you realize you are an actor, it doesn't make it any less fun. Just enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just when I was little, I used to get so sad during like snowstorms or during Christmas break because I knew it was going to end. And it was like a crisis that you shouldn't be going through as a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
But I was. I vividly remember sitting on a plane and looking at a Lego magazine and wondering, why should I save up my money for any of these Legos? Because I'm just going to die one day. And finally, as I've gotten older, I've realized that, yeah, one day the podcast will be a thing of the past. I have no illusions about that, just like my life will be. I'm just enjoying the dance while I'm here. I know that the Christmas break doesn't last forever, that it's one day. But now instead of going, oh, and I just, even at 32, even last Christmas I still just, I truly enjoyed the Christmas tree and the ornaments and the Christmas carols that I fucking hate. I loved it all because I just accepted it for what it was. And I enjoyed that it was fleeting and that it was
Mm-hmm.
here. And that's kind of how I feel now is it's being an actor and it's fine.
Yeah.
You know there's a green room. That doesn't make the movie any less fun.
One of the things that's been strange for me as I reach this age, because I've been doing the same thing for almost 40 years for work, is the number of things that I built that have become obsolete and been taken out of service. And sometimes I've replaced them, and sometimes they've been, oh yeah, we took your shit out 10 years ago because, it was totally obsolete. I'm like, well, that's why you haven't bothered me with any service call requests lately. But it's strange because it's like you look at something you did that you put all this work into, uh, and you were so proud of it in the day, and just the inexorable march of technology has made it obsolete.
Mhm.
And maybe I get to redo it. Maybe someone else redoes it. Maybe it's not worth redoing at all because it's not a function anyone needs anymore. But it's happening more and more often. And it's taken a little getting used to. Uh because it's like, it's like, I remember it's like, yeah, man, I spent 2 months building this thing back in 2008,
Yeah.
and now it's in a dumpster. So, uh, but on the other hand, someone used it for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I look at it that way. Uh, you know, if no one ever uses it at all, then it was a waste. But if
That's a
someone
waste.
uses it, but if someone uses it for 5 or 10 years and
Great.
it's functioning for them, then yeah, it's like, but they're going to come out with different equipment. I've had a lot of things going out now because the instrument that I used to do a lot of stuff during the 90s and aughts was itself obsoleted. And so as those fail, there's no replacement parts for them. And so they're coming to me because I built the original thing. And the first thing they're asking is, why did this happen? I'm like, I didn't have any control over what Avery Waitronics did. It's like they decided to discontinue the instrument and the replacement is not exactly compatible. So it needs to be redeveloped as if it's a new project. And sometimes they just say, okay, here's a purchase order. And sometimes they're like, yeah, we don't think so. Then some customers are wonderful and some customers are assholes. That's another thing you
It's
learn.
I will get the first episodes of this podcast on a MacBook, and then around episode 50, I turned the MacBook around and and had it facing the wall, and I put the flag behind me, and I assembled this chair. And then around episode 300, I got this microphone and a better
I
webcam and
remember,
some lighting.
yeah, I
And
remember
then,
that.
yeah, and then I put black bed sheets on either side of the flag so it looked more, kind of one solid background instead of a weird just drywall. And then I moved to the new apartment and I got the sound tiles and then
Mhm.
moved from the MacBook to the iMac and then from that to the scary camera. And then I had that one and then that was for a while and then I went from an Xbox to a gaming PC and then I moved entirely and now I've got this whole room of with neon lighting and I've got two chairs and I've got a huge flat screen and it's this whole thing and it's cool and I'm in downtown and it's like I got a gym in the building and it's like you know I can't really be sad when one era comes to an end because like I love it for that era and
Hmm.
there's nothing I love more than like working towards the next one. So even though this
Mhm.
place I'm still in like the honeymoon with this place, I'm already like what does the next studio look like? And that doesn't mean to not be grateful and not love what you have where you are, but just acknowledge it for what it is. I love and I'm gonna love this place and we're gonna do hundreds of episodes here and it will soon be right now, it's still very new. Eventually, it will be the old apartment was new. Eventually, I ended
Yeah.
up doing more podcasts in the old apartment than I did in my parents' house. So it kind of became the new home.
Mhm.
If I do more than 500 and 62 no, I did 572 episodes in the old apartment. If I do more than 572 here, this will be the new home. And that's beautiful
Yeah.
and that's great. And then eventually I'll fucking move. Maybe out to a
Yeah.
nuclear bunker somewhere,
You'll,
whatever,
yeah, you got to grow into it, break it in,
and
learn
it'll
its
be fine.
quirks, all
And
that.
then eventually we'll reach a point where right now the only thing I don't like is the washer dryer. And in 2 years,
That does sound like a pain in the
it
ass.
kind of is. In 2 years, I guarantee you, I will start to hate every part of this place. And whereas I remember when I first realized the washer dryer was fucked, I realized I wasn't even angry. I just saw it as like the first birthmark or blemish on like the honeymoon.
If it was perfect, it wouldn't be right.
Exactly.
You got to have flaws.
But then I
That
realized I didn't hate it. I was like, yes, that's the first
that's
perfect. I assembled this table
that's
4 days
also
ago.
part of the drama.
Yes, 3 days ago, I assembled this brand new table right out of the box. And I was putting screws in the bottom of it. And I wasn't paying attention. And I punched a hole right through the fucking thing, screwing it. And there's a huge chunk taken out of it. And I'm still angry at it. And I'm going to fill it in with some filler or whatever. But there's a beauty in it because it's fucked, right?
Well, it's yours now.
It's mine now.
No one has a table exactly like that.
Exactly. These neon lights are cool and futuristic. There will reach a day when I don't want these fucking nightclub lights here anymore. And like that doesn't make this a better studio than the old one, and it doesn't make it worse than the next one. It just means it is what it is.
Mhm.
And that clip right there is what I will eventually be explaining to some sort of congressional committee about why I'm a good person and this is just a pod. That Roger will be my lawyer and see, he didn't really mean to incite violence.
Yeah.
He didn't.
I can't actually be your lawyer because pretending to be a lawyer when you don't have a law degree is illegal, but
We'll
I
get you.
can be a consultant. You
We'll
know, I
get you.
can,
Well, you're
yeah.
smart. You'll pass the bar. You'll do what needs to be done when I'm on trial under the Patriot Act. If, I'll be under investigation from a FISA court one day. I don't know how. Maybe I do know how actually, but Actually, with that, hold on, Roger. Let's wrap this one up. I don't know where Dale is, so Dale's probably off killing his state official somewhere.
Hey,
So
we could have done a reading. We didn't
I
know.
know. Well,
Well,
let's wrap this one up, and I will tell you. Hold on. So everybody, go buy the book, and